So, David, remember how I came up with a great idea for a villain until I told you the name and you thought, you laughed and said, that's a terrible joke, terrible joke. No. And I said, remember? And I'll go explain. Remember the character I said would be a great character? He'd be like the Taskmaster, only he's great at capturing superheroes. And they'd be like, I can bait the superhero and I can capture him. I said he would be called the Master Baiter, right? And I thought it'd be hilarious. It'd be a funny character. Right?
Would make him really badass.
Right. Would make him badass. And you thought, that's hilarious, John, but it's not good.
It's never going to happen. It's never
going
to
happen. I thought, I've got another one. Like, I should come up with villains. I've got another great one. Ready? All right. Picture, right? You got this female, right? And she's got a horribly deformed face, so she's constantly hiding it underneath these crazy outfits and these crazy...
Oh, no. I think I already can figure this out.
Right. She's constantly hiding it underneath these crazy outfits or these crazy battle suits. She's always, like, hidden on her face, right? But she's really powerful. And, like, she has this power to make people flock to her and do what she says. And she's got all these little creatures, so when she fights superheroes, she calls them my little monsters, and they run out, right? They attack superheroes, right? Yeah. And she would be called the Gaga, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? Like, she'd be this creature thing, but she'd be the Gaga. Look out, it's the Gaga. And she'd constantly say, now, my little monsters, attack! And all these little creatures would attack the superheroes. It'd be awesome, right?
I think I have a sub-name for her, like bad guys, is it? Like the Joker's, the Harlequin of Hate.
Right.
Her like side name would be the Butterface. Gaga the Butterface. Yeah.
See, because it almost sounds like it's almost like you're like, in the comics when people get scared, they're always like, Gah! It'd be like, Gaga! Like, oh, look out, it's the Gaga! Right? It would be awesome, right? Her little monsters. Like, awesome.
Horribly offensive. Horribly offensive.
I'm telling you, Marvel, you need that. You need the attention. Marvel should jump on it. You just send me the check to Blackie Pueblo. We'll get in contact with me. Yeah. You can have the Gaga.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Just hop right on that disco stick, right?
Yeah. I'm telling you, she'd constantly have the stuff on her face. You couldn't see her face, and but she's some reason she's so powerful. Like, she's immensely powerful, and people are like they're in awe of her. But she's so evil, and she's just,
And then she starts acting, and then her career really goes kind of down the toilet.
I'm just saying, dude. It's original, right?
Yeah. Not based on anybody.
And whatsoever. It could be diversified. It could be anybody. It could be a white person, black. Doesn't matter. It could be German. I am the Gaga. It could be a male. It could be
All
right, so anyway.
And on that note, welcome to Recovering Sidekicks, our weekly comic book review podcast, where we talk about graphic novels, single issues, and
trade paperbacks. I'm getting it.
Yeah, you got it. You got the power of the Gaga, I think. Yep. It's Fantastic Four month. This will be the last.
Woo! Fantastic Four.
Yes.
It's clobbering time.
Yes.
Flame on.
You know what's the most offensive thing about the Fantastic Four remake or recent movie?
The little invisible woman going, "You can't see me."
See, that would have made the movie better. That would have made the movie so much better.
She can pose, "You can't see me."
No, is that they use the term, it's clobbering time, to describe an older brother abusing his younger brother. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that line is said at the very beginning where Ben's older brother full-on decks his, younger brother and says, it's clobbering time. I was like, you just used a cool, fun catchphrase for kids.
Wow.
For child abuse. Damn you, Josh Trank. You real fucked this up, man.
You know what, David? I think you're being unfair. You just don't see his vision.
I guess I didn't see
You just don't see what he's trying to say there. See?
Well, there was a good version of that movie, but Fox Studios will never let anybody see it. Or nobody saw it because it was never a good vision of that movie.
It could just be one of those things that people say.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that there was a good version, but nobody can ever prove it.
It's like when I say I'm over 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
It's not really true,
right.
But if I say it enough,
right,
maybe people will believe
buy
it.
Yeah, right, I gotcha.
I just gotta fool myself in the end.
Yeah. Fantastic Four month, though. I love I just feel like Gary, what's his...
Oldman?
I just want to go, I love the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You, though, you look like a Justice League person, but I love Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So. They get a little bit boring at the end, though. And that's why you stopped!
So, yeah.
Go watch The Professional.
Reed Richards has a tendency to get a little long-winded.
Yeah. He said, "Go back inside."
Right. Yeah.
I want to say people you should using that as a gif. Like everyone uses everyone all the time.
Hey,
I want to see that.
Gary Oldman play an older Reed Richards now?
Yeah, I think he'd be a great Reed Richards. Yeah.
I think he'd be great playing that. Johnny. Yeah.
Gary Oldman could play anybody if he wants.
I think so.
That's how I feel.
Okay, so Fantastic Four month, we've been kind of, and we're gonna have to do this again because there's so many great issues
Oh yeah.
of Fantastic Four, and there's a lot better ones than the ones that we're talking about. So I'm just randomly picking
in
some out.
5 years, when Marvel gets the rights back to Fantastic Four, and makes a good Fantastic Four movie, we'll talk about it.
Because I know that people are probably listening, going, "Dude, there's much better Fantastic Four issues," but and there are, but I'm just picking out some older ones. You know what I mean? That are just fun to read. So I've been picking out some just fun ones. But damn it! Do you remember not so long ago? I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, something like that. We talked about, or maybe it was a week ago. You talked about when the Fantastic Four back in the 70s or whatever they fought the Hate Monger.
It was the 1960s, sir.
It was the 60s. Okay,
Who was Adolf Hitler?
Right, who's Adolf Hitler? I'm gonna jump on that rolling bandwagon again.
All right. You're jumping on the Hitler bandwagon. Just like Sean Spicer and his Holocaust
the
camps.
Hate Monger was a pretty cool villain and surprised any.
Yeah, well, what a twist.
Sure, what a twist. Well, it was such a popular villain that in 1984, about 10 years or so later,
good old Orwell year.
Right, the Hate Monger returns.
Ooh.
But it isn't Hitler. It
isn't Hitler?
Take a deep breath. It's not Hitler, though.
No.
But it's like this.
It's Stalin.
Yeah,
no.
I'm not going to go into detail what it is, but it's basically a little crabby, weird little white guy that can change the way he looks. And he's a shapeshifter and stuff.
Oh. Okay, so did he take the form of Hitler?
No, he's...
Damn. You're missing out. You really should be capitalizing on this Hitler.
But in 1984, there was a four... No, I'm sorry. I think it's a 4-issue miniseries. About 4-issue... Not a miniseries, but a 4-issue story arc that went into Fantastic Four, starting with 280. And basically the Hate Monger returns and causes complete chaos. Not only the Fantastic
Four... With his hate ray?
Basically, yeah. With,
that's the noise I think it makes. The hate ray.
It does?
Yeah.
And
probably obscenities it shouts also.
Not only with the Fantastic Four, but all of New York is what happens. Which is actually a really good storyline. If you pick it up, it's pretty cool because he's working with the Psycho Man.
And the Psycho Man is a guy whose mother died, and then he dresses up like his mother and then kills people at his hotel, right?
No, not quite.
No, okay.
He's from another dimension universe, one of those inner universes that they like to visit all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, and he wears a big armored suit kind of thing. But basically, he's got it looks like a board, and he pushes the board and says "fear," and now you're full of fear, and it's like bleep bleep, So
now you're gassy.
Right. So
now you're hangry.
It's basically a great team up. The Hate Monger teams up with the Psycho Man, But it's like the Hate Monger is all, whoever this Hate Monger guy is, he's all like, "Yes, master." He kind of answers to the Psycho
Man's
the
big boss.
It's a really cool storyline because, especially in today's world, today's events, it's pretty cool because the Hate Monger guy will turn himself black and give a speech about the white people, then he'll turn himself white and rile up the people about so it's pretty cool. Okay. All right, so it's a pretty neat thing.
Playing both sides,
right. So I just want to tell you, for example, on the first issue, 280, it's a pretty cool cover of
I actually really
the
do
mob.
like the cover.
Yeah, it's a really cool cover of the mob and the Fantastic Four, which, by the way, I believe this takes place right after the Secret Wars Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So Ben Grimm is not part of the Fantastic Four. He has left the Fantastic Four in this because he's decided to stay on that planet because...
Contest champion things?
Yeah, because he can turn back into normal self in this planet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So taking his place is the She-Hulk, which makes it a lot of fun. But can I just point something out, though? Look at this cover, and can you tell me what's wrong with the perspective of the Fantastic Four hanging on the words hate, though? It's pretty funny if you really pay attention. They're not really hanging on it if you look at it.
Yeah, there's
his arm is hanging on her, and she's not really. It's really kind of not
the Human Torch's actual hand isn't on anything. He's kind of free.
Yeah, the lineup isn't really. It doesn't. They're not really lined up very well.
Well, it's pretty clear he drew them first, and then drew the letters in.
Yeah. So somebody should have picked that up. But all right, but
hey, he had a deadline, sir. He needed to get this stuff out.
So the storyline takes place through 280 to 284, I believe. But the main reason why I want to bring this up is when you think of the Fantastic, mostly in issue number 281, I believe. Yes, I believe it's 281. I think maybe. Let me double check something real quick first, though.
Double check.
I want to double check this, but
double checking it.
Oh, I see. It kind of happens at two. It's basically 280 and 281 is the ones I really want to talk about. When you think of the Fantastic Four, people will think, "Oh man, Johnny Storm. He turns into fire and he can fly. He's awesome, right?" Reed Richards, he stretches big deal.
Stretch
but
power
he's so
sucks,
smart.
but the brilliance is really a
they're great.
superpower.
When you think of the Thing, you're like, oh man, he's freaking super strong.
He was able to kick the Hulk's ass.
Right, yeah.
Listen to that episode.
And then when people think of the Invisible War girl, they're like,
and
Invisible girl, she makes him do a bit of force field, man, big deal.
Yeah.
Well, what happens in these issues, Sue gets her day, put it that way, is the best way to say it. She gets, I don't want to ruin it for you though, but Sue kind of gets brainwashed by the Psycho Man and Hate Monger.
Hate Monger.
Right. And
side with the Hitler.
Right, so she decides that, yeah, she basically becomes, like you said, she becomes the killer's mom, like almost.
Yeah.
Like, but it's kind of cool because it shows exactly, if you know, people don't think about it, but Susan Storm / Richards is actually the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four, if you really think about it.
She's a heavy hitter.
Yeah, and if you
actually think about
in these issues, it really shows it because she becomes a villain in these issues and she takes on the Fantastic Four. Of course, we have to don her too in a really sexy outfit, leather outfit.
Because you can't be like a conventionally worn supervillain, villainous.
Right.
Like you got to be skimpy.
Right. She can't be like, I'm now a villain. She calls herself Malice, by the way, which is kind of a cool name.
It is.
She calls herself Malice with a black cape and stuff, but she couldn't be really threatening Malice as she stands there in a business suit and says, I will destroy the Fantastic Four.
She's got to throw the dominatrix mask on.
Right, she's got to be...
Which is what she's totally rocking it.
Right, which is funny because I guess the idea is because, you know, they took over her mind and they pushed things to the limit, so she's always such a good mom dressed up. So the idea is, you know, now she's completely opposite way now. She's half unhinged.
She's like, I will not get you formula.
Right. So it's pretty cool because she pretty much goes through the Fantastic Four in these issues. It just shows how powerful she is. And that's why these issues are fun to read. Especially, like I said, especially 281, when she takes, 280, she takes out the She-Hulk and beats the She-Hulk using her powers. Because she doesn't, people forget, she doesn't just make herself invisible. Yeah. She can make things out of invisibilities. Like, she can, so it almost looks like she's flying in the air. She's flying. She's not flying, she's walking on invisible
little platforms
columns and stuff. So little things like that she does. She-Hulk, with all her strength, she goes to punch her, but she can't hit her because she's got an invisible field up, you know? Yeah. So She-Hulk's immediately confused, because none of them know who she is at first. But one by one, she goes and she starts taking them on, and she takes on Reed Richards and kind of smacks him around too. But it's pretty neat because it really shows how powerful she is, which is really awesome. I like seeing her kind of kick ass, you know? Just for the side note, she does take up the version of Malice again during, I want to say the Infinity... No, I'm sorry, not the Infinity... Which one was it? I think it is the Infinity War.
That's the clone ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Reed Richards gets caught or disappeared or something. So she knows she has to be tougher to lead the Fantastic Four now or whatever. So she, like, so to speak, fights her subconscious and absorbs Malice. So she gets a little more... And then actually the storyline carries on through Fantastic Four after that. She's eviler and a little tougher.
We should probably talk about that eventually, but I just want to bring up the fact that, like, during the Infinity War in the comics, they had evil versions of everybody.
Right.
And, like, evil Spider-Man had 6 arms and had, like, a venom tongue and bug eyes. Yeah. And Captain America had a giant buzzsaw shield and he also had a venom face.
Yeah.
Evil Reed Richards just had crazy hair.
Yeah.
Like that was the reach. It was like he was just like, I got crazy hair, I'm bad.
Right. I almost picture like if you were gonna do let's just picture a Reed Richards Fantastic Four movie, Gary Oldman's Reed Richards, and you know who would be the evil Reed Richards? I just picture Adam Sandler going, "Oh, I'm crazy!
I'm so crazy!
I'm crazy! Ooh, I'm smart! I'm crazy!" I just picture Adam Sandler running around doing it.
It's like like if the bad guys, the evil versions, like rushed a room, you'd be like, well, I can figure out who's who.
Right.
Except Reed Richards, like, why does Reed have bedhead? I don't know. It's like I'm evil Reed. Oh, okay, that's it. Gotcha.
But what also is funny about this too is because they play off the desire that a lot of people kid around about too is a lot of people remember the Fantastic Sue Richards from earlier Fantastic Four, where she's always kind of the yes hubby, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They play on that too, where they bring out her emotions that she's pissed off at Reed because I've always been the girl. So that's kind of cool too, and it's kind of funny. And I don't want to ruin it for you, but Reed realizes, for some reason in comics, to fight the effects of something, you always have to max out something.
Oh no!
Right. So I will say this.
Reed.
So it's pretty funny. I have to admit. I believe it's in 280. Yeah, I think it's in 281 because Daredevil shows up too, which is pretty cool. Which is kind of neat too because Daredevil shows up because little side note, because as they're fighting Sue Richards, they're fighting Malice, not knowing who it is. Then when Daredevil shows up, he says, "Who's your glob fiend you're fighting?" And then Reed Richards figures out because, he sees everything radar sense.
Yeah.
So when he's looking at Malice, he doesn't see a person. He sees a big glob because she's got a force field around her the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, and that's how they figure out who Malice is.
Yeah. Because, Daredevil would be able to sense all the invisible stuff that she can create.
Right. So it's pretty neat. But, not to ruin it, but you have to read it. I'm kind of ruining some things, but you have to read it. It's pretty cool. But to reverse the effects, Reed goes full on chauvinistic to reverse it.
He goes
pretty funny.
He goes full Ant-Man, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty funny to watch him literally. She's yelling at him, saying, "I'm going to destroy you," and he literally turns his back to her and says stuff like, "Quiet, woman! The men are talking!" And it's pretty funny to play on that whole situation.
I can see you make a lot of force fields, but why don't you march in that kitchen and make me a sandwich, huh?
It's just pretty funny to watch Reed talk really chauvinistic to her. It's great. And then
I feel like this is the writers going, "We're sorry about the early 60s,
right,
ones. Let's have a little bit of fun with it."
And then if you go on to number 283, just to continue the story on, like I said, 280 and 281 is the two best issues to watch Sue take on the Fantastic Four and pretty much show how powerful she is and stuff she can do.
Yeah.
But you get to 283, it's pretty funny too, because the Psycho Man has him captured and they're in tubes and he's messing with their heads, and of course he immediately, let's torture the women first, right? So he's torturing the girl first, and Sue Richards in the tube, and she's seen this alternate reality thing where she's with Ben, a weird version of Ben. She's with a weird version of Reed, who's like old, which is really weird. He's like an old guy, and he's constantly doing this, and he's constantly being really chauvinistic. This version that she has that he's showing her, he's constantly like yelling at her, going, "Sue, do this!" And then she screws him and goes, "What's wrong with you? I told you, woman!" And she like cries like a little, like they totally make fun of the whole '60s version of She's like, "I'm so sorry, Reed. I tried. What did I tell you? You have to be prepared. Try not." And then he'll tell her, "Let's do this again, and try not to screw it up this time, woman." Like it's hilarious to see. It really is. So it's worth it. These issues 280 to 284, they're really funny. I'm trying to remember who's writing it. It's the penciler scripter is by John Byrne.
John Byrne. Yeah. Who was on a roll in the 80s and I think early 90s too. Yeah,
and so they're really fun issues to read because it's.
I always really like John Byrne's art style.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. What I was gonna say is the art is really cool on it. Sue Richards has really weird haircut though, which is kind of strange. But but
I love She-Hulk's hair. It's like that real poofy, frizzy, kind of fluffy.
Oh yeah, see the way Reed Richards looks like an old dude. For some reason, in this alternate version of her head, he's really an old guy. So I don't know if that means like she thinks Reed's an old guy.
I think so. Because I always perceived that Sue was always like almost like probably 10 to 15 years younger than Reed.
Yeah.
So that perception of he's this older guy and kind of treats her like shit.
Oh, and the other thing that's kind of cool too is because the She-Hulk, they've got the effects of fear on She-Hulk. It's kind of funny to watch her stand in front of these guys who are holding her prisoner, who are like 5 foot something, and the guy just like lunges at her, and this huge, powerful She-Hulk is like cowering in the corner. Oh my god! It's pretty funny and kind of cool to see how the effects are so strong that she would, somebody who's almost as strong as the Hulk itself, is cowering from this little 5 foot guy or whatever. So it's a really cool story, and like I said, I love the fact John Byrne, when they wrote this stuff, they pretty much really are playing up that whole idea from the 60s of Reed Richards is the husband, and she's just like, "Oh, whatever you say, Reed," that whole thing. You notice how my voice gets high whenever.
Yeah, when you do too.
I don't know why.
Because you gotta. Otherwise, it'd be real weird. Oh, it's a weird Ben.
Yeah, it's very strange Ben. It's this whole alternate thing. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's amazing. But like I keep saying, I'll keep mentioning it. 280, 281. It's really cool to see because Sue Richards is like amazing. Is like her powers. You really think about it, her powers are really amazing. I've seen her put up shields that have hold off the Hulk and stuff. You know what I mean? So I'd love to see you want to talk about alternate versions of crap they do all the time in comics. I'd love to see an alternate version where she's with somebody else. Like they killed off Reed Richards and she's like this ultimate queen with some other badass guy. I'd love. How about like her and the Maelstrom guy? Was that name?
Oh yeah, Maelstrom.
Like the two of them.
What if she hooked up with Namor and do this whole story on that?
That would be kind of cool. Yeah, because he's always at hot for. She's always kind of forward back with him. So But it's a cool issue. I love these Fantastic Four issues because they, like, again, they really show how powerful Sue is. And she never really gets her full ride. So
she never gets her respect.
Yeah, she really is. There's been a couple issues later on in the 90s and stuff that, like Reed disappears and she has to take over his leadership and stuff. But what's funny about those when I read those is it's like she takes over leadership, but then they have like Namor show up and stuff. So it's like she can't just be a leader. She's still gotta be. Yeah, it's gotta be like, oh, I'm still pining over this guy who's trying to take Reed. Yeah. Like, I don't know. So it's always been like she's the girl of the group, and they treat her like the woman. And it's like they don't really use her to her full potential a lot of times, so it's like
that's what I find funny about a lot of female characters in Marvel, specifically Marvel, is like Susan Storm, Jean Grey, probably Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel nowadays. They're always characters that initially don't have control of their powers, right? And they have a really hard time controlling their powers. Yep. And most of the time their powers are defensive. It's always like force fields and blocking and it's never on the offensive. And it's weird to me is like it took them so long for them to like get to a point where like, oh no, this is and usually these are most powerful characters. Same with Storm. Right. There's so many issues where Storm loses control of her weather power and the X-Men are pinned down or some crap.
Which doesn't make no sense because if you think about Storm's powers too, I mean, she could do amazing things. Like, she is literally like a god.
Like, really, why would you need the other X-Men?
Right, yeah. You just send Storm in, she can make a wave and it drowns everybody. Yeah. I mean, that's it. She sends out lightning bolts and strikes everybody down. I mean, yeah. So, they never use Storm to her full potential either, so I don't know. Can I tell you what I think is the worst thing that ever happened to Fantastic Four? And this is coming from a Fantastic Four fan. You know what I think is the worst thing Fantastic Four ever did? Uh-oh. Is have their kids.
Aww.
I really do. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to be mean.
Do you hate having two kids or just both of them in general?
I hate both of them in general, but if you're going to have the one, that's fine. I could deal with that. But having two was, like, really bad. Yeah. Like, because really, it got to the point where almost every issue was like, oh, we have to protect...
Franklin.
And, we have to protect her.
Valerie? Is the second one?
I think so. I don't remember. Yeah. But it got to the point where it's always like either the kids save the day, which I hate anyway. I hate those anyway. Or it's always like some villain's got to come and take Franklin because of something, or Franklin saw a future thing, and you know it's always about the kids. And it got to be the point where it's not even about Fantastic Four anymore. It's just about them taking care of the kids, and then something happens.
Yeah. That's what kind of bugged me is I was disappointed that Franklin wasn't in the Days of Future Past movie.
Oh yeah.
Because if you read the original Days of Future Past comic,
he's a big shot.
He's a big shot. Yeah, he's one of the mutants that's helping Kitty Pryde and was another one of the characters. Oh, and Wolverine and Storm and stuff like that. Right. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in that.
Yeah, I that's the one thing was it's just always, like I said, I've always loved Fantastic Four, but the kid always freaking bothered me all the time. I don't know why. And they've had issues in the future, where later on, where like he gets pulled into the future and comes back as a teenager, and they did that for a while. Remember, like he was a grown kid. They tried to do a whole series with them. It was Fantastic Force or something, or what was it called?
What was his name?
Force something.
Yeah.
He was Psylord.
Psylord, yeah.
Yeah, but they had he teamed up with I don't know, it was so weird. I don't know.
He was the leader of the Fantastic Five in alternate reality.
Oh, really?
In this, if you read Spider-Girl,
right,
where Peter Parker and Mary Jane had a daughter named Mayday Parker, and she becomes Spider-Girl, and the Fantastic Five's around. Oh no, he's not the leader. It's Johnny Storm's leader now.
Oh, okay.
And it's an older Human Torch. The Thing, I guess, lost an arm, so he's got like a robot. It's
really?
So he's got like a robot arm.
Right.
I think Reed kind of died, so he's like a robot or something. Really weird. Yeah.
Okay.
His
consciousness is in a robot?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
I think he was called like the Big Brain now or something like that because he doesn't have stretchy powers. I don't know. But yeah, I never got a chance to read those.
I don't know. So I've always liked, like I said, I've always liked the Fantastic Four, and I even, like I said, I can put up with some of the situation with the kid, but like he would always be involved in like everything. After a while, he was like involved in everything all the time. It's just like, oh.
I feel like it's like your group of friends and the one who keeps bringing their kid.
Yeah,
like, come on, we're supposed to have fun tonight. You gotta watch the kid. Aw, boo.
Because really, and then that was one of the things too, is they constantly are the writers. You can tell they're constantly trying to figure out what to do with the kid, because they'll be like, oh, we have to go on this adventure. Oh, I dropped Franklin off with so and so.
You gotta.
Just randomly.
It's like horror movies have to bring up their cell phone. I don't have signal.
Yeah, I'm like, what? So they constantly have to drop. Oh, I
Agatha,
dropped off this.
Agnes or Agatha or
Agatha Harker.
Agatha's watching
whatever,
her.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So it was just always kind of a pain to me, but yeah, I like I said, I would love to see more with Susan Richards just kicking butt. I mean, totally. We'll never see that now, and we never did really get to see her really just unleash her power. I mean,
no,
you know,
shame.
The only thing that was kind of cool too was, if you remember too though, because she's a very interesting character. Not only she's the wife of the smartest guy, right? But she's the older sister of Johnny Storm.
So it's really more of a mother figure to her, Johnny. Then
so you've got that aspect of it too, where she's trying to look out for her little brother. Plus she's a wife. Plus she's a mother. Plus she's really powerful.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects you can do with her. It's just like wow, but they always focus on
Reed opening a pocket dimension.
Yeah, and the thing again going, oh, I hate being the thing again. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I don't. Yeah, it's just a shame. I just like I said, Sue Richards actually is one of my favorite characters of the Fantastic Four. Really, I'll tell you the one that I've never really been that crazy about though is I still like him, but I've never been a big Johnny Storm fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean he's cool. He's part of the group. You know, but I'm just like, he turns fire.
You know, I never liked on the Fantastic Four team.
Who's that?
Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, it was his baghead.
Yeah, baghead. Yeah, worst Spider-Man, worst Fantastic Four member.
Yeah. What about the new Fantastic Four too, when they had Ghost Rider, the Hulk, Spider-Man, who's Wolverine? That was that was a good one too.
This ain't your daddy's Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I didn't even understand that.
No one did.
I didn't. I mean, it was just let's just put these cool characters together at the time. And it was really weird because...
Who's the most popular characters in the 90s? Yeah. These guys.
And it was just so weird anyway because it's like the Hulk comes sauntering up and Spider-Man comes swinging down and Wolverine comes walking up and here goes Ghost Rider on his motorcycle. Like,
you guys aren't even wearing matching uniforms.
Right. He's like, I just made a vengeance. Where do I park my bike? You know, like, it's so weird. But yeah. So check out these issues, like I said, from 280 to 284. It's pretty cool. The Psycho Man really isn't that great of a villain. But, I mean, he's kind of dopey looking. But the idea of the fact that he can get in your head and mess with your emotions and the stuff he can do is pretty cool. And let's not forget, though, he's the one who unleashes Malice, who, is a recurring thing every once in a while comes up. So it's kind of cool. It's a cool series. Like I said, 280, 281, 280 and 281 are the ones that really, really check those out. They're probably pretty easy to find now. But I don't know, though. I mean, you'd have to look in the bargain bins because they're not like real. Because, again, it's Psycho Man. How many people look for issues with Psycho Man?
One guy just sat up like, hey man, I love Psycho Man.
Right. Yeah. So, you should be able to find them. And if you find them, they're really great. They're a fun read. They're really
He's my favorite, and my number 2 is Blaster.
Right. Yeah. So, I tell you, I still laugh after reading it. When I read it again, I still laugh after Reed just saying, shut up, woman, we're talking here. It's just him yelling at her. It's just... does that make me sexist? Does that mean I
think so. I think the version of yourself in your head is this old guy who's real sexist.
Right.
It's constantly
like girls going, hey, sweetie, come here.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Right. All right, so there you go. Check out two.
That's it. We pretty much covered every Fantastic Four member this month. Like we had showcasing the Thing off, and Human Torch with his marriage problems, and now Susan Storm. So.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
You know how everybody was joking around about the Thing in his, is a doink, is a rock,
I liked how you went very mature and said doink.
Yeah, thank you. I don't care about that. All I want to know is, does he call it his thing? So it's like thing, and like man thing. Does he say my man thing's man thing?
I like to think before he gets some action, Ben, he goes thing, do your thing. That's how he rolls.
Right. Yeah. Those are things. I don't care about what they look like. I just want to know, like, does he call it? Does Mr. Fantastic call his my fantastic stick? I mean, what does he call it?
Probably.
I mean, come on, everybody calls theirs. I just call mine my penis. That's what I call mine. That's all. In case you were wondering.
Yeah. Johnny's, it's just his flaming junk, and then he realizes he can't say that too much because it sounds like he has an STD.
Right, yeah. That's what scares the girls, and he gets excited. He says, flame on! And she's like, no!
What does it burn?
So, yeah. All right.
Are you guys fans of the Fantastic Four? Should the Fantastic Four be celebrated as much as we just celebrated them for a month? And also, any other themes you want us to explore in future episodes. Next month is May, and with the release of Guardians of the Galaxy, we're going to be talking about obscure Marvel characters. Because let's face it, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they were all D-listers.
Yeah, that's
People always joke like Daredevil and Captain America. No, they're not. They're not D-listers. D-listers
like Psycho Man.
were Psycho Man. And yeah.
Psycho Pirate, right? Was it
Psycho Pirate was good. I like him. He kind of came back suddenly in comics now. He's real popular. But yeah, so we're going to be tackling obscure Marvel, the forgotten heroes and villains, maybe. Mm-hmm. But after that, I don't know. Maybe we need to do DC month, I guess, because we kind of been
dumping on DC. We're talking about the good moments of DC. We don't really do that.
Good. There's good DC out there.
Yeah. So I'd like to know though what people's favorite member of the Fantastic Four. I mean, because we've been talking about it all month, but like, what's their favorite one? Do they like Mr. Reed? Mr. Reed. Do they like Mr. Fantastic as their favorite, or it could be somebody rotating it out? I like Crystal. Crystal was always my favorite.
Crystal's great. I like when Scott Lang shows up.
Scott Lang was cool when Reed Richards disappeared. Scott Lang showed up to help the Fantastic Four for a while.
I always liked the idea too that Scott Lang was also a former thief.
Yeah.
So like he might just be pocketing stuff at the Baxter Building all the time. You don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can always contact us on the Twitter. I am at Exploited Geek.
I'm not the Blackie. I'm just Blackie Pueblo.
Yes. And you can also contact us just through our Gmail account at storymechanicscast@gmail.com. And you can just visit our host site at storymechanicscast.com. Just scroll down, right in the little comment section, just type right there, and talk about how incredibly cool Sue Storm is and how she's not taking advantage of the writing department.
And is Sue Storm still considered a MILF even though she's a drawing?
I think so. She is in incredible shape for a mother of two.
Well, she does run around the pocket universe all the time.
That's true. Constantly.
Yep.
It's burns a lot of calories making those force fields.
Exactly. So all right. So lots of ways to contact us.
Oh, you can also like us on our Facebook page, Story Mechanics.
Yes.
Podcast.
Facebook. Who doesn't like Facebook? Where you can see lots of other fun things like photos and stuff like that too. So keep an eye out. I'm telling you though, the Fantastic Four versus the Gaga. Now, my little monsters, attack! It's clobbering time! And
right now, all you can see is my poker face. See, because that's another song.
That's what Brett will tell her. He'll attack the Gaga and be like, poker face! And he'll punch her right in the face. It'll be awesome.
Maybe the Fantastic Four should never come back. Good night, everybody.